The last topic that I want to talk about before we end this episode of the JT Sports Podcast is how good will Arkansas football be in 2021? So when I made my video about Ole Miss saying why Ole Miss could win the SEC West, I made that video like 3 weeks, almost a month ago. And there were a lot of people in the comment section, or a lot of people who hit me up on social media. Make sure that you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, JT Sports _. Link to that is down in the comment section and description down below. But there were a good amount of people who said, JT, I think that you need to take a look at Arkansas. Arkansas is being heavily underrated, and they have a lot of seniors returning. Now, I was taking a look at this Arkansas team, and now to me, I think that they're probably, the more underrated team in the SEC. I just got done talking about Kentucky, but I think this is probably the biggest sleeper team in the SEC this year. As a matter of fact, I think that Arkansas would be not only the biggest sleeper team in the SEC, but I think that they would be the most improved team in the SEC this year because they went 3-7 last year, but honestly, you probably could say that they probably won 5 games, maybe 6 last year. You had some games that came down to officiating, and you had some last-minute losses. But overall, I really like what I saw out of Kentucky last year in Sam Pittman's first year. He's going into year 2 now. He has a really good staff, and I think that Arkansas has the best offensive line in the SEC this year. You return all 5 starters, and Sam Pittman is a offensive line coach pretty much. He's really good when it comes to managing and getting the most out of his offensive line, similar to Mario Cristobal up there with Oregon right now. So I think the offensive line is going to be really good, and when you have a really good offensive line, you're going to be in a lot of games, okay, because football is still a game that is won and lost in the trenches, okay? If you can handle yourself up front against a team like an Alabama or LSU or Georgia, then you're going to be in that game, because the main reason why a lot of teams can't keep up with Alabama or Georgia is because they just get dominated up front. So if you're able to handle up and protect your quarterback, and you give him enough time to throw the football, you also can create running lanes, then you're going to have an opportunity to have a lot of upsets brewing. So you look at how good that offensive line for Arkansas is going to be, pretty much, in my opinion, the best old line in the SEC right now. That's going to open up a lot of things for Arkansas's offense. Now, Arkansas's offense was really solid last year under Felipe Franks at QB. Well, now you have a new quarterback under the helm at center. His name is KJ Jefferson. Will he break out this year? He definitely has the size. He's like 6'3", 240 pounds. He has a very good arm. He also has some mobility. So you look at him taking over at QB. He has a really great group of wide receivers that he's going to be throwing to. One of the better wide receiver groups in all of college football. You have Traylon Burks, who's 6'3", 225. He had 51 catches for 820 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. He could be one of the best wide receivers in the SEC by the end of this year. You have Davion Warren, 15 catches, 278 receiving yards last year, 3 TDs. You also have Jaquan Crawford, who is a transfer from Oklahoma. And you have a solid group of tight ends with Hudson Henry and Trey Knox. So KJ Jefferson has a really good group of wide receivers to throw the football to. So he has a good offensive line that's going to be blocking in front of him. He has a talented group of wide receivers that he's going to be throwing to, along with a solid group of tight ends. So KJ Jefferson definitely has all the tools to have a breakout season. Then you have the depth at running back. You have Traylon Smith, 710 rushing yards last year, 5 touchdowns. You have Dominique Johnson, who's going to be that power back, who's going to be running down the middle of the field, who's probably going to be in third and short situations or goal line packages, because he's 6'1", 240 pounds. He is a freight train. And you have Raheem Sanders. So you have a pretty good running back rotation there. Pretty much we're going to be seeing a lot of Traylon Smith and Dominique Johnson there. So you look at how good this offense can be this year. This offense definitely could explode with KJ Jefferson at QB, a really good off the line, a really good group of wide receivers. Like, this offense for Arkansas looks really impressive. But what I'm excited about the most is this defense. Now, last year, Arkansas's defense wasn't that great, okay? Now, they had to play some of the best offenses in college football, but they returned 10 out of 11 starters from last year. The only starter who isn't returning is defensive lineman Jonathan Marshall. But outside of him, you have 10 starters who come back, pretty much the whole entire defense, but one person returns. Now, this defense, I think, is going to end up having a significant amount of improvement when it comes to their pass rush. and their third down defense. Now, I think their pass rush is going to improve, but also the third down defense should improve, because a big component of being able to get off the field on third down, in my opinion, is being able to get consistent pressure on the quarterback, because the majority of the time you're looking at third and medium situation, like a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 passing situation. And if you can't get pressure on the quarterback in those situations, you're not going to have a lot of success getting off the field. Now, secondary should improve also. If the pass rush improves, that's going to help out the secondary, because then the corners and the safeties aren't going to have to be in coverage for all that long. I like the depth that they have at linebacker. They're running a 4-2-5 defense this year, so you have like only 2 linebackers, and you got Grant Morgan and one of the best names I've heard so far, Bumper Pool. This man's name is Bumper Pool. That's one of the best names that I have heard so far. So you have Bumper Pool there, you have Grant Morgan there, you have 2 really good linebackers. They combined for a lot of tackles. So those guys are really good, a lot of talent, a lot of experience there. You also have safety Jalen Catalon, who is really good when it comes to tackling, kind of like another linebacker. So you have a lot of experience on the defense side of the football this year. Now, how is the D-line going to look? Because you lost Jonathan Marshall, but you still have Darian Gerald, Zach Williams there. So the D-line, although you did lose Jonathan Marshall, I don't think it's going to drop off. It could get better also if they're able to improve their ability to get pressure on the QB. And the fact that they're running a 4-2-5 defense is really good, because the 4-2-5 defense is the perfect defense to counteract these high-octane passing attacks, such as a Ole Miss, who likes to throw the football a lot, similar to Mississippi State as well, who likes to also throw the football a good amount. So when you're running the 4-2-5, I think that's a really good defense to counteract this heavy pass-oriented offense that a lot of teams are gearing towards. So when you look at Arkansas, I think Arkansas is the biggest sleeper team in the SEC. A lot of people think that is Kentucky. I think that is going to be Arkansas, okay? You have a really good offense with all of the things that they have returning on defense. I think Arkansas could have the biggest jump in the SEC than any team in this conference. Not only the conference, but I think this is going to be the most improved team in college football. This is a team that won 3 games last year. Easily could have won 5 or 6 if the ball would have bounced in their direction. This year, I think this team is going to go from 3 wins to maybe 8 or 7, okay? And you could make the argument to say that maybe they could even win more games than that. They could win 9 and just surprise everybody and take everybody by surprise, including me, and just win 10 games. But I think they can go from 7 wins to 8 wins this year, which is definitely a significant amount of improvement. And I look at Arkansas, man, this is definitely a team that is upset waiting to happen. They're going to pull off the upset against somebody, rather that be A&M or somebody. Somebody's going to end up going home extremely disappointed. You're going to end up saying, how the hell did we end up losing to Arkansas? So I'm telling you right now, under Sam Pittman, this Arkansas team is really scary, and they were really scary last year. Like, they won 3 games, but this is a team that was way better than what their record from last year indicates. Like, a lot of people just look at the win-loss column, but sometimes the win-loss column isn't always reflective of how good the team was, because you look at a program right now that under Sam Pittman is kind of being revitalized right now. Like, they were 3-7, but they were a really competitive 3-7. And like I mentioned earlier, if the ball would have bounced in a different direction, this team could have been a 6-win, 5-win team. So I'm really high on Arkansas this year. I'm really excited for KJ Jefferson. He has a lot of talent around him to be successful. This is a really dangerous Arkansas team that a lot of people should not sleep on this season.